Welcome back, Lucas.
It's good. It's good to be back. My chair is still warm. Thanks, Jeff.
We missed you.
He played your part really well, I think.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah.
Still not Lucas, though, eh?
No, but he's getting there. Paint the car green.
All right, you guys are back. Thank you, Eric, as well, joining.
I think, 3 more times I get a free smoothie? Is that how this works?
Are we going to give out stamp cards?
Yeah, we should. We should, yeah.
It's my sixth one, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, 6 for 6.
Okay. Good. Commitment, Lucas. You should look up the word.
All right. So in this one, we had a pretty interesting topic that come up as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a debate around what would you do as a car enthusiast if you were to buy your cars, right? If you had a $500K budget, how would you split that up? Would you end up buying one car that does it all, spend all your $500K on it? Or would you buy multiple different cars that offer different experiences? So I thought maybe today we could discuss that. We've had a chance to think about what those options are. Leave some comments below as well in terms of what you think you would do as well.
It was a tough week. I lost sleep over this homework you gave me.
It's a thing. It's a topic that is always in my head. I'm always thinking when I'm acquiring another car, what should be my ultimate garage or my fleet of cars in my garage would look like. And it's often hard. You know, $500K is not a lot of money to begin with.
I was thinking, and it's the biggest schmuck thing to say, right? Like what a point of privilege to say, oh, $500,000 isn't enough to stock your garage. But as I went through the exercise, and I think we all have expensive tastes because we love cars, and you know, the cooler they are, sometimes the more expensive they can get. I often think about this in terms of like, if I won the lottery, let's say I won 50 million, how much of that would be allocated towards cars? So let's start like thinking about that. Like if you have, is it 5 million to start?
Yeah.
2 million?
Well, let's start with
because it wouldn't
this.
be 500,000, right?
Yeah. Let's start with is this $500,000 market, like MSRP pricing, or is it the markup
market
like
what
values
you could get today?
Okay, so market values
based on the market.
And 50 million. How many cars would I get, or how much would I spend?
Yeah,
I don't think I'd spend much more than I like to control the garage, like maintenance, washing, usability. I don't want 20 cars that just sit and collect dust.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'm using one.
Everything under one roof for you.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's always a debate, right? Like, should I would you put $1 million into just the one car and get a Pagani?
No.
You know, in that scenario, you could have
Singer
the
DLS.
Yes. See, that's $1 million. Well,
That's
more.
$4
That's
or
$3
$5
or $4 million car. But that's a car that I would purchase because it's still that usable, detailed, engineered, kind of bespoke, you know, a masterpiece. Very similar to Pagani in a lot of ways, but just not as hypercarish, right? Not as flashy. And I don't like the flash factor too much. I like a nice car, but I don't like it to stand out for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Prabhu? What's your budget? If I know we're going to talk about the 500,000, but like, if that wasn't the limit, would it be $1 million? Would it be 2? Like,
it's difficult. I've asked myself this as well. Like, if I won the lottery, what would I do? I've always wanted to have a fleet of cars.
Define fleet.
Like, I've always told my wife, Kim, that I want a 10-car garage.
Whoa.
Right? And I wanted to fill it up with 10 of my favorite cars. And
that's awesome. He's finally moving out of the city. That's great.
It ain't going to happen.
Come live near us.
It ain't going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
Maybe after retirement, maybe when Kim is tired of the city, then we'll move into the countryside and build our own home.
I hope it's way before that. Prabhu.
Maybe. Yeah. But we need
so 10 cars, then you're easily 2 million.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But again, it might depend on how we spend that money. We can be super wise about it and not overpay. You know, like we were talking about GT3, where you could go off and buy one now for $100,000 over, but you could maybe hold back wait for the right opportunity and buy those cars 100 grand less potentially down the road. So I started asking myself, what sort of car owner or enthusiast am I? And I had a list of things. It's like, am I a car collector? Do I just care about the driving feel? Am I a flipper? Buying a car, selling it.
Ugh, flippers.
Well, there's a space for it, and there's a way to make money from it as well. It could be a source of income, for many.
Yeah, but if let's say you have 50 million, you just won in the lottery, why would you be considering flipping in the first place?
Oh, like, sustainability,
50 million? Why are you flipping a car to get 40 grand? Like,
it's the art, right? Eventually, you do that with one car, you do that with 10 cars. That's going to add up. 50 million, I think. You've seen like lottery winners blow through that
For
money.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would look at, if I won the 50 million, I would look at a way to create some sort of passive income.
For sure. I agree with you. But you would do it with cars. I don't know if I would want to do that. I would. You'd be essentially becoming a car dealer. Like you want to be a car dealer.
But it gives me an opportunity.
Probably in a higher end segment of the market.
See, my problem is I can't. Even if I tried, I don't look at cars that way. Right. Like to me, it's not like I like to enjoy. I have an attachment to the car. I'd like to make it my own. I'd like to, I don't think about resale or mileage. It's not what I buy it for.
You might fall at like if you start commoditizing this, you may not love it the way that you love it now.
But here's the thing though, in that world, if that world ever materializes, I would have core cars that are true and that hold deep, that I enjoy and I would not get rid of. But then I have a segment of cars that I'm constantly
moving, flipping
or whatnot, and I'll have a core set of cars that is my forever type car. I mean, if you had 50 million, you could acquire those forever cars and say, those cars I love, I'm going to keep it till my kids are ready to drive them.
See, I always had a vision in my head. Maybe it doesn't. It's not as applicable to Ottawa, maybe somewhere else. But if I won a huge amount of money, I'd want to create like a car condo facility.
Yeah.
And I've always, I thought that was always such a cool idea where you get all these car guys who obviously, let's say they have 2-3 cars. They live in suburbs or condos. They need a place to keep the cars. Yeah. And you create this beautiful kind of neighborhood with large garage / lofts. And it's everything you need you can make your own garage upstairs with TVs and sofas for lounging. And on a weekend, everybody comes there, opens their garage doors, and you have this like environment, this whole euphoria of like car enthusiasts, right?
They have those throughout the U.S.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Culture, like even like Wisconsin.
I think we have something similar starting up in Toronto as well, just north of Toronto.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Awesome.
But that can be income. You just you lease these things or sell them and you maintain them, but it brings you almost joy and pleasure to see it operate, right?
We should partner up and build it.
All right.
Yeah, 50 million. Here I come.
We'll build it down south, like more potentially.
Yeah. All right. On to the task at hand, though.
Yeah.
So we don't have 50 million. I think the exercise was 500,000. So.
Yeah. Few zeros less.
Yeah.
We're so poor.
So I had a few things, so as I was trying to decide how I'm going to spend my 500,000, I had to ask myself, what sort of owner do I want to be? That's why I was asking, do I want to be a car collector? With 500K, can be a car collector. Mm-hmm. Not enough money to get started. Can I be a car flipper? Potentially. I could be a track junkie, get a car and just drive the crap out of them. So my fleet has to reflect that if I want to do that. Do I care about social status? Literally like
flex
vehicle.
The one baller car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe trendsetter. Or am I just a true enthusiast that just enjoys owning a car, cleaning the car, driving the car? Yeah. Just a balance of all these other things that we've talked about. So that's how I looked at it.
Or you've got one other important category. You could be like an environmentalist and buy 8 Tesla Model 3s for that money and gift them to your friends that drive V8s. Stupid idea. Cut that part out.
So what are your cars then? What did you choose? hold on again. We had a little misunderstanding, right? Because we understood. Well, I guess this is your idea, anyways. But I understood that it was $500,000 budget for our entire garage. So let's say we don't have any cars right now. Yeah. What would you have in your garage for $500,000?
Yeah.
So, and I thought that was difficult because I have to squeeze in cars that I want aside from what the cars I already have, right? Yeah. So I have to almost rearrange my garage. Eric thought it was
additive. I'm keeping my existing. I thought that I was keeping my existing fleet.
Yeah.
And adding to it with the 5, which is a much better problem.
And you said it was harder to choose the cars.
Right, because there was some obvious picks, and we'll get to this when I reveal my selections, but that would be somewhat similar to what I have, and I think it would, would it be the best use of that money? So, anyways, I won't spoil what I picked, but that's my thinking.
What sort of logic would you apply in this scenario? Are you a one car that does it all, or multiple cars?
I'm similar to Lukasz. I like the idea of having everything under one roof. I don't want to have another building. I'll certainly put hoists in my oversized garage, but that's it. I want to have access to them. That's the only way I'll use them. I've had, as a single guy, I had 3 cars, and one, just me living alone, 3 cars, and it was hard to get
to pick and
to
choose.
access, or just to find the time
to use them all. Yeah,
like you say, the paradox of having nice things is you don't have the time. So,
how about you? What sort of logic would you apply?
That's exactly my logic. Yeah, and I think I'd want a car that does. I would allocate myself to 3 vehicles. I'd want something sporty.
Yeah.
I'd want something kind of utilitarian, but still functional for family kind of setting. Mm-hmm. And then I have to have a truck in my garage. It's basically
it's what you have.
Yeah. It's what I have.
I have his 500,000 to add to mine because he doesn't need it.
Yeah,
he's already.
But it's what I enjoy, and it's what I want, right? So I'm not I'm not into hypercars or supercars. Like, would I take a 458? Yeah, that'd be an awesome car to add to the garage, but it's not like. Then again, it doesn't have a manual.
Yeah.
And I think a sports car, like for me, should have a manual. I can have automatics in the other cars, right? So,
that's exactly it. I mean, like within the 500K range, there's a lot of nice cars. If you were to just go 500K, I'm going to buy one.
For one car, you're good.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, 765 LT?
Yeah. But see, that car doesn't do it all. That's the problem.
No, it doesn't do it all.
So name me a car that does it all for 500,000. There is no such car.
No, but I think, again, if you answered the question the way I was thinking of it, you would be adding to it, and you already have your pickup and your SUV, so it's just adding to it, and maybe you then would add a 765.
So maybe assume that you have your pickup, your daily driver.
Okay, then it changes things dramatically for me, right? Because I mean, I have.
Well, you better think on the fly because we're going to be doing the reveal soon.
So right before this, we had this conversation. We were asking ourselves, how do we kind of come to a conclusion on what sort of car person we are? One car that does it all, or own different cars, forward and multiple experiences. And we set ourselves this 500K budget to kind of scope that down so we don't end up having this lengthy debate over all the permutations. So we've pre-prepared some of these cars. You've supplied me some of them. You've told me what some of them are. I've got my list. We were supposed to have Silvio for this. He couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Too much trout.
The sea bass will get you every time.
Damn it.
Next time, Silvio. How do you know sea bass?
Seems like something you put in the Bass-O-Matic.
Does that typically
blend it up?
It's a great name, by the way.
But he had a really good selection of car, and I liked his kind of way of thinking, and it's too bad he's not here. And the way he kind of categorized it as what variety is a spice of life kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that saying has kind of stayed true in my head.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we were trying to convince him to just spend all his money on a GT2 RS, and you don't need 4 or 5 cars. But I think we're starting to realize when you start acquiring those type of cars and you realize it's not giving you all that you want.
Right.
It's if you're a major flex person.
You're an example of that, I would say, because you've got by most measures like the dream car. Like you've got a GT3 RS, but even for you, it's not manual.
Yeah.
Right.
When you see my selection, it's not.
Right.
It's not really the.
So it would be no different than GT2 RS if that all your eggs in one basket, you'd still be wanting for something else.
Yeah. All right. So maybe let's dive into
Let's go.
Our picks, and we'll jump into what we think. I couldn't quite pick, I had 3 different groups of cards.
Just show us. Show us the goods.
All right.
All right. I'm going to have to go here. So, Eric,
I'm up first.
Start with you.
Okay. So I will draw your attention to the left side, because that's kind of, I think, where I ultimately landed. I'm going to start on the bottom, actually. So the Dodge Viper GTS, I love this car. I think it's timeless design. It's a V10. I think this is going to be an endangered species at some point, and if not already. So for me, and I just think it's, as much as you can say $100,000 car is value, I think it's good value, and I think it's something that's going to do really well in the future. It's manual, and it's one of those poster cars of, I wouldn't say my youth, because I was probably 20, in my early 20s when it first launched.
I think you've already given away.
Yeah.
How long you've been on this planet.
But it's not exotic, but I think it's just a beautiful form. And so that's 100,000, and then that led me to, and this was the hardest part of my decision, was between the top 2. So the Ford GT, and I'm very specific about this. I want a Ford GT stripe delete car. There is one for sale. I did send it to you. It's about $380 Canadian, but they trade around 400,000. So I think that iteration, you're kind of aggregating up to 500,000 between a Dodge Viper and a Ford GT. They're both manual. They are both American cars, which I thought long and hard, and maybe I should diversify, and would I be better served with getting a Ferrari instead, like a 458?
Is this all based on the fact that you're still holding on to your 911?
Correct, and that was based on having, I'm keeping my 997.2 GTS in my garage.
Okay,
that's ultimately because you know the decision I was probably faced with, because the GT3 RS. The 3.8, the 997.2, gray black, you've actually picked my favorite iteration of it. That was it was either that or the Ford GT.
I don't know, Eric. It doesn't have CCBs.
Well, yeah, with CCBs and buckets.
Steel brakes.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe didn't exactly know. But I like the gray black with the red.
Yeah, it does look
good.
Yeah.
And I'm not at all, like, my car is not that car. But it's close enough to it that I don't think, to the variety of spice, is a spice of life comment, I don't think I'm getting that much different between my 997. Like having 2 997.2s.
Yeah.
So that's where I ended up. I think, I landed on the Ford GT and the Viper GTS. That's my $500,000 spent.
In addition to what you have.
In addition to keeping my 997. Right. Now, if I didn't keep the if I answered the question differently, I would take the GT3 RS.
Would you trade your GTS for the GT3 RS and get the Viper?
It leaves me with 2 2-seaters.
Yep.
I don't think I
can always buy a trailer.
Well, you've heard
and you could tow them both.
Yeah.
But you've heard me talk about a family car, like how this factors into our life.
Are we talking like your kids are 19, they no longer want to hang out with you in the car?
Okay, well that's still 10 years away. Yeah. So it's hard to make a decision for future Eric.
So that's another question for you, and maybe we'll get to you as well. Is when you buy these cars, are you thinking of these cars to be your final purchases, or would they be kind of an investment for your ability to acquire future cars down the road?
I might answer a bit differently. I think they're all gonna be worth a lot more in 10 years.
I agree.
All of them.
Yeah.
Like there's not one that I think isn't a winner. They're all manual. You'll notice that. That's key, much like you, Lukasz. For me, that's important to my experience. So I wouldn't commit to saying I would never get rid of them in the future, but I'm not buying them. I am buying with the expectation they're going to be worth more than I paid for them. That is the money guy in me that never leaves. So yeah, that's where I land. I'd be curious if the comments, did I get it right? The Viper is a lock, but if you had a choice between the Ford GT, so that's the Gen 1, or the 997.2 GT3 RS, Which one would you pick?
See,
So I'll throw it to you guys.
So the only thing is that the Ford is definitely more of a show car. Like if you can take the RS and still go to Shoppers or like a grocery store and park in the corner and do what you have to do without raising too many.
It's pretty boy racer though.
Well, I guess the color scheme gives it away.
Yeah.
But the Ford GT is the sound, everything, like even at low RPMs.
It's exotic.
It's exotic.
So for me, it's going to be the cost of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I go Porsche.
The Ford is
What do you mean,
I think
cost
low
of
cost of ownership car.
What was it?
The Ford GT is super. Like it's a 5.4 liter
Supercharged.
Supercharged. You can get
remember
Ford parts
Jeremy Clarkson, his Ford GT. He's had nothing but issues with the car. Always with the dealership, electrical issues, little things, right?
Really?
But,
I've heard that story.
That's also Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah, I think that makes for some good TV, right?
Yeah.
You know?
He's a TV host, so I take his opinion or his commentary with a grain of salt.
But you should listen to us
Yeah.
on this podcast.
This is the place to get your
Get your I mean, if cost of ownership.
But probably
is
you would do
similar.
that even with the
Oh, yeah.
GTS in the garage. You would still add another Porsche.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to say because have you ever driven an RS or a GT3 997 GT3?
No, I haven't.
So it's hard to say you're adding another 997.2 to the garage
agree.
without actually driving the car.
It could be completely.
It could be so visceral and so much different compared to what you have that you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because a lot of cars, it's same chassis, same body, same appearance, but it may drive completely different than what you expect it to drive like, right?
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Or
But the Viper gets the thumbs up. There's no,
Viper gets a thumbs up for me. I agree. I think I've always had a soft spot for like American muscle sports car. Even to this day, I like the Challenger. Like I like that kind of that car. Primary car, not so much.
Yeah.
But as a secondary or third car, I'd love to have one.
like a car that comes out once a month.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
and all these cars would be like modified.
Yeah.
Obviously.
The tuner.
Well, it's not in the budget, but I mean,
I guess blew your budget.
Well, the Ford GT was 388, so I've got 12K.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
2 wheels.
And you can probably get a Viper for 90. So
Yeah. Actually, you can get a Viper for cheaper than that, probably.
yeah,
Too.
I either want the 02 or like a 96, 97.
But I think for you can find one for probably 70. That is a pretty good example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
And yeah, I mean the GT3 RS is high up there now. It's almost 300K plus now
Yeah.
for a 3.8 liter.
I think it's
Yep.
more.
We're not even talking about the 4 liter.
4.0, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 350 now.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
All right,
We're back to
All
the
right.
previous podcast.
we missed you, man.
Ah,
Let's move on to. I didn't want to go to my picks yet.
okay.
Maybe we'll talk to
One
It's
car.
one
Lucas.
car.
So I didn't deliver all the information on time, right? My garage. So if I'm adding 2 cars, it's going to be the GT3 Touring. It's gonna
And so price that out. Like we think that's a 350.
so like let's say I'm going to negotiate. I say 320. Okay, so 320.
So
in a good market.
Good market.
But that's getting you PCCBs, buckets,
Yeah,
Basic
PTS.
it has to be the essentials, right? So
PTS.
not necessarily. I don't need PTS. I mean, if it's a nice color, it's a nice color. But CCBs, full leather interior, the proper stitching, matrix, clear headlight, clear taillights. It has to have it's the right spec. The color, I wouldn't get black, for example, on a car like that. I want gentian blue is nice. If I saw a Viola, PTS, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think PTS is a prerequisite. So let's just say it's around 320, and then I'd have the
180 for mods.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, there's your budget. You're done.
No. So and the other car would be
You said Corolla.
no. I have more money than that for left over for my automobiles. I have to choose a Raptor R.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Go
I
back
think
to
that's the ultimate garage, right? So if I have my cars and I'm choosing 2 more cars, Raptor R and GT3 Touring.
And do you sell your Denali pickup then?
Well, I'm basing it off what you
Okay, adding to it.
right? So I have what I have.
Okay.
But let's say I can't. I think I'd keep the same combination.
Really, eh? You would have 2 trucks.
No. I mean, as we sit, like let's say by Eric's criteria, I'd add those 2 cars. Yes, I'd keep remember my Denali is not on the same kind of performance or tier as a Raptor R. They're 2 very different trucks.
Yeah.
My Denali is it's a very comfortable, luxurious, refined truck, right? So I mean, I went to Toronto with the truck with the family, and it didn't feel like a truck. This is going to feel more like a truck.
Yeah.
But it gives you other benefits, right?
It's a Baja truck.
It's a Baja truck. Suspension's much softer. It's got a bit of a rougher ride, maybe at slow speeds because of the knobby tires, but it's got different sound, different interior, a number of things that make it different, right? So, but that would be my kind of ultimate garage, I think.
Yeah, good choices.
Yeah.
Now, being the indecisive me,
You had more money than the rest of us. Look at all,
Jesus
look at all those
Christ, Prabhu.
so my 500K, the way I was thinking of budgeting and spending it, I couldn't quite decide.
Yeah.
There
Like usual, eh?
Yeah.
there are 3 ways I could go. Get a 992 GTS with back seats and pair that up with a GT4 RS. So you've got the practicality of a 911.
Yeah.
You've got the 911. I don't think I'll ever go without a 911 in my fleet.
Yeah.
There has to be a 911 in there. There's just something about 911s that makes me just gravitate towards driving it. The GT4 RS, just because it's the last of its kind, given that it's going to be electrified, a track monster, mid-engine car that has a GT3 motor, is just something so appealing.
Can you put prices on like so the GTS is what, 220 as you'd have that spec'd out?
Yeah.
And what's the GT4
RS in PTS? Like this will be kind of my spec here.
Okay.
It's about 225, 230.
Okay. So you're around 450.
GTS is 220 MSRP?
With a luxury tax.
Okay,
Right.
so with taxes, yeah. Because it's the MSRP is less than that. I think it's a $180,000 car.
So no, this is luxury tax
Okay.
before HST kicks in.
Okay.
Okay.
We're adding taxes to
Anyway,
the
well, it's fine. We're
No, but like luxury tax is something that we are going to end up having to
Yeah,
pay
we are.
for these brand new cars.
Yep.
For the used cars, not so much. That's why I kind of deducted that from my budget.
Okay.
But not HST. That's
Lucas
weekly.
moonlights with the IRS. He's all over the
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, there you
That's
go.
true.
Okay.
Send me your connections, man.
All right.
Eric Galley.
That's a different agency. I'm going to, I've had a glimpse of that. I would nix column 1.
Okay.
You would exit?
I've
Okay.
already seen enough.
Okay.
So,
Moving on.
so the other way is getting 2 of VW's most iconic cars.
I like that. I like that.
RAV10
Yep.
manual and the GT3 RS 997.2
Same as mine.
3.8 with PCCBs.
No,
Just to
this is-
clarify,
oh,
just to
that's-
clarify.
It's the wrong stock photo.
Sorry, couldn't quite get it in time.
Is the V10 a manual?
Yes,
Okay.
manual. So that will be.
I like that.
Again, we don't have the practicality, but
Two two-seaters, yeah.
two seaters, which
Yeah.
is fine by me, and I've vetted this with my wife as well. She's okay with it.
These are 2 cars in addition to what you have then,
Yes.
Ooh,
because you have two two-seaters.
ooh, yeah.
I would still answer the same question.
So my
would say
picks were as a result of just replacing my
okay.
current fleet.
Yeah. So how would you bring your daughter, like, and your wife, let's say, on like the restaurant?
Mine was the daily driver.
Okay.
So I would have a El Cheapo daily driver.
Corolla.
I was thinking A5.
Why not Corolla? Why not GR? Those are sick.
You can't get them.
We sat in the GR at Montreal, and we both liked it.
My wife won't get in the car with me.
She won't. Blindfold her. This is a Audi.
She won't know the difference.
She's like, oh, it rides so smooth. It's so cute.
I like this. I had totally forgotten about the V10 R8. I think that will go down. Like, I think that'll be a very good car in the future to own. Like, you know, six speed V10.
What's cool?
Last of a dying breed.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially considering like the R8, I think this is obviously the last generation, but this is the last generation we're gonna see of the R8, and it's V10 variant, right?
It's one of my in this generation is one of my favorite.
I think it looks great. Lower it on great wheels.
Yeah.
It's better than this the new generation R8 V10. I think it looks better.
Yeah. I prefer the back of this one more. I think it has more character and fluidity.
It's more elegant.
More elegant.
It's not trying too hard.
The front of the new one is nice, especially the facelift. I stopped by Tristan's shop the other day, and he has a black
boys.
Pit Stop Boys.
There you go.
And he actually had one inside it on bronze. It was a black V10 Plus with bronze Vossens on it and like red calipers.
That's nice.
It wasn't.
Pardon?
Wasn't the T?
No, it wasn't a Tarsi special. No, and it looked great. It was a good looking car.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right. The first generation, especially the facelifts with the nicer taillights, the one Tarsi had, but just elevated, was
His was a V8.
His was a V8.
Yeah.
But it was pre-facelift. The one you have there is the facelift version.
Facelifted, yes.
Yeah.
And I like that.
That one looked fantastic.
Yeah. Facelift is nice.
Yeah.
So a facelifted version of a V10 is super hard to find right now.
Extremely.
And if you do find it, it's like 200K.
Is that that would be 11 or 12 then?
Yes. No, that's newer. I think it's like a 13 or 14.
Actually, so
you can't get it manual though. Then I think the
No,
last
you still can.
manual.
No, you can.
Oh really?
they had a GT which was
That was
automatic only.
Yes.
S-tronic, not S-tronic.
Yeah, that was the orange one there with like the canards in
spoiler.
front. Yeah.
With the wing
Yeah.
from factory and all that. So I thought this would be a great little
It's a great
combination.
lineup.
Yeah. Track Beast.
CCBs.
Yeah. And I think these guys came with PCCBs
They did.
as well.
Yep.
Or not PCC, just CCBs.
CCBs.
But finding one, if you could find it,
Right.
that would be an ultimate dream.
And that would be, so we know that the one at the bottom is like, call it 300-ish. And then
That's about 200
that's 200. Okay. So
for a
there's your 500.
facelifted version,
Okay.
being very specific.
Yep.
Okay.
And that kills my budget. Third track, staying true on the Porsche stream, get the GT4 RS and a GT3.
It's also a
Manual.
good combination because
So-
I'm assuming you have a PDK and a manual there.
Exactly.
So you have two kind of great motorsport two-seaters with variant transmissions.
Yeah.
I like that combination too.
And you spec them very similar. Is that to fool your wife into thinking, I just got one pack?
Well,
no,
it's an illusion.
just blink and you'll
You're
see.
drunk. You're seeing double.
I don't know, something about these greens, like the olive green.
I think you like the green and kind of bronze gold wheel setup, eh? I like it too. I think it looks good.
Yeah.
And there's so many green, I think, is coming back. Green was popular in like 94 on all the Grand Cherokees.
Yeah.
And after it faded away, nobody made green cars. And now it kind of came back.
I think there are just so many green options. So many
Tons.
good
Hues.
colors.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to look past.
Is it NATO olive or what is it?
NATO olive is darker.
Yeah. It's nice.
Olive green is, I can't remember which one. I think olive green is lighter and the NATO olive is this guy here. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. There's one of my favorite greens is off that television show, The Bridge. I forget what it's called. Is it Jager green? Or I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's a beautiful green. Look it up. But,
Yeah.
so you have the three choices. Like, can we all agree that number one is not the winning column?
I have to agree. Number one, slash it out.
It's not. I don't want to
Slash
say
it
it's
out.
not special, but I don't know.
No,
It's regular traffic. You know?
no, it's special. I just think that. Yeah, it's not special.
Like desire.
The other two are just much more compelling. They're better choices in my opinion. The first one is you have good choices. The GTS is a great car.
I think it's going to depreciate.
Manual, yeah.
I think the GTS will hold value, but not as well as these GT cars.
I don't know about. Oh, you mean not as well. That's right.
Correct.
I agree.
Yeah, I believe that. But not. It doesn't hold a candle. Like that is a moneymaker. I think the V10 R8's a moneymaker.
If you can get it, I think these two cars are going to be future
the
classics.
GT3 probably going to do.
I got a question for you. Would you consider like a combination of the R8 and the GT3 992 instead?
A little swap.
Because you have an old car and a new car, kind of like because you're.
But here's the thing, though. There's two manuals. The only way I'd get the R8 V10 is in a manual.
That's okay. What's wrong with having two manuals?
I thought it would be a good combo to have Porsche's best automatic, the PDK, and have a good manual. I think Porsche makes one of the better manuals today.
Yeah.
Maybe BMW as well. But having the best manual and having the best automatic, two different driving experiences.
Well, you can always swap out the R8 for the GT4 RS and keep the GT3.
PDK?
Wait,
The 997.
I'm confused.
Keep number 2 on the bottom.
Okay, so the 997.2 GT3 RS and add what?
And add a GT4 RS on top instead of the R8.
Oh, yeah.
You're swapping it that way.
That
So
would-
I do like your logic in terms of it gives you something new.
You have new and old, right?
Because I would not swap it the other way, because then I feel like you've got two cars. Well, I shouldn't say it. The GT3 can be a track car. It absolutely is a track car.
Yeah.
But would you? It's not purpose built like the GT4 RS is for the track, or the 997.2 GT3 RS is for the track.
For me, the R8 is a guilt-free driving experience.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care about, I have to preserve the miles on this car.
Just enjoy the drive.
Just drive it. But the 997.2 GT3 RS, I know, given how much money I'm putting in to get it, I'm going to feel guilty about driving it the same way I feel about the GT3 RS right now. So that's my thing as well. Like, it's good to have the old and the new, but I also want a guilt-free driving car and a car that's sort of like a unicorn, take care of the miles.
I don't care about that.
Yeah. I shouldn't, and I think that's the part I need to get away from.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? I think if you drive the car and you maintain it appropriately, it doesn't look its age.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of dedication and work to maintain the car properly.
Yeah.
Because like my M3 has 36,000 kilometers on it. It's not a lot of mileage, but it doesn't look like it has that much mileage. But I take care of it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just
The other thing I would challenge your thinking, Prabul, is like if you got that car and you did drive it, when you see 993 Turbo S's with 80,000 miles on them, they do really well.
Yeah.
At auction. No one's thinking, oh my God, like
high mileage.
Yeah, it's a high mileage. Like no one's thinking that. And like anything, if it's not a 1 mile car or 5, like whether you're at 40 or you're at 50, it's the same, right?
That's true. Lower the miles.
In time, it's the same.
And I think the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, applies best to, I think, cars.
Yeah.
It really,
especially Porsches with more
especially everything wants to get used regularly. It performs better, it works better, it functions better. If you just let the car sit and sit and sit, it's not. It's just decaying and turning to.
Yeah, you can say it. I'll bleep it out.
Yeah. So I think you want to use these cars. You don't want to let them sit and just rot, right?
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, there you have it. In conclusion,
So where did you land?
my goal is going to be number 3.
Yeah, I thought so.
If I could get the allocation.
So you have nothing old then?
No, but the thinking there was, if I get 3, these are cars that will get old and become future classics.
Wow.
I love it.
How profound.
I love these cars.
They
will get
will
old
get
with
old.
age.
Yeah. Water is wet. Water is wet.
No, I just mean
I love when Prabhu convinces himself. That's awesome.
No,
Well, it's the opposite of
future
my
classic.
pick. My picks are all old, right? I've got an 05 and like an 02.
Do you know when they'll be classic? When your daughter owns them.
Hey man, little things. There you go. So Eric, I think
So
your final
Ford GT, Dodge Viper GTS. I'm going all American.
Am I the only one who likes trucks?
No, I like trucks. It's just
I can't do
adding to
trucks.
No way.
I'm going to get a truck, but outside of this
Yeah.
conversation.
There you go. Let's get
Daily
some
driver.
Let's get some Coors Light after this.
Tailgate party. Let's go. And I'm doing the GT4 RS and the GT3 manual.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Lucas is doing a GT3 touring manual and the Baja truck, the Ford
Raptor R.
Raptor R.
R, yeah. So Raptor R also. I had a Raptor before. Great truck. Raptor R is special because it's the V8 variant. They brought the V8 back.
700 horsepower?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, what are they now, the Raptor Rs?
So Raptors, so there's a Raptor. The previous generation was a 3.5 EcoBoost. The new generation was a 3.5 EcoBoost. The old generations were all NA. They were 5.4 and 6.2 liter V8s. This one is a new 5.2 liter supercharged V8. So they brought back the V8, which was what everybody was kind of screaming for, right? I own the EcoBoost, and it was actually fantastic. I had zero complaints. Obviously, it's not going to deliver you a grunt like a V8 will, but it still sounded good. It very powerful, great performance. Suspension was awesome. So the Raptor R is just special because it's the V8 variant, right?
Yep. Going back to the old, right?
Okay.
Back
Yes.
to the roots of what
Sign
it was.
up for the Perry.
Again, this
Perry
truck,
car.
I think is going to be a truck that's also last of its kind because I don't see everyone's going on the electric hybrid bandwagon, and this is a 5.2 liter, supercharged V8. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think if you can get any of these gas-powered cars and that special and unique limited run or whatever.
So nobody chose electric cars, right?
No.
Nobody.
No.
Rob?
Rob.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, Rob.
leave a comment, Rob. Leave a comment.
Man, that's awesome. Well, I think we should probably wrap up.
Yeah.
I think we've gone on the 48-minute mark. But this has been great. I think it's good to see different perspectives. You almost went a one car that does it all. But
so actually, I saw this car, and it looked so good, and even my wife's like, "That's a sick car." I never saw it in the flesh, really, like up close, but I was in Toronto and I saw a fully blocked out Rolls-Royce Cullinan on like 24s, and it looked so good.
See,
it's a big car, but it's so proportional with like the bigger wheels, and it has such a dominating presence. And you can just pull up slow anywhere.
Was that like parked at the Four Seasons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course it was. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was gorgeous, and it was it has those like the chameleon tinted windshield, all black wheels. It just looked so good. Yeah.
But I mean,
I can't see that having that in Ottawa.
Yeah.
I've seen a
No, there's a I think,
really like Miami. Okay.
yeah. Ottawa isn't quite there yet.
Right.
yes.
But-
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
All right.
So to wrap it up, I mean, basically what we said at the very beginning was, are you a one car type of person, or would you want to have different cars for the different driving experiences?
Multi-car guy.
And I think the three of us are kind of in the same boat. We
Yeah.
want these different cars for different experiences, especially when picking like a 500K budget to buy these cars.
You know what I think that says? I think that says about us is it's not really status, right? Like, I mean, some people would get, oh, I want the Ferrari, or because I want to flex. None of these cars are really flex cars, right?
Well,
They're
I
all
guess
the easiest cars.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it depends where you're.
How you look
I
at it.
have to say, if you go to a restaurant and pulling up in a graphic to GT3 RS, I mean, it's
flex.
a flex, but yes, you're right. They're not flex cars per
The
se,
way,
right?
like where you're like a Cullinan
Hypercars, yeah.
or an Aventador, or
Yeah.
so if you dropped everything into one car.
Yeah.
And I think what was common to all these picks was that there was a fundamental focus towards the driving experience, right?
Yeah.
It's about how you feel behind the wheel, being engaged, raw,
100%.
and there's not a lot of computer aids and things like that that's trying to tell us how to drive. It's you and the machine type thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my ethos to these cars as well.
Yeah.
Rationale for these picks. Well,
All right.
that's been
That's
great.
a good note to end on, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate today. I think this conversation was really good. It sort of went by super fast. What did you all think as well? If you had the 500K budget, what are your choices? Are you going to do a one car that does it all? or go after these multiple experiences? Let us know in the comments below.
Like, subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
There you go.
Hey, these guys already know what needs to get done now.
Yeah.
So do all those things. We'll see you all in the next one.
That was-
I picked the wrong one. This is so strong. Whatever I just picked.
the bourbon?
So it's 100 proof. Do you know what that means?
That was harsh.
100 proof means it's 50% alcohol.
Yeah.
What we're drinking is probably what, 25, 30?
30, 35.
You poured that too.
I mixed it.
Oh, did you mix? That's a good idea, actually.
I mixed the sortilege with that one.
Yeah, why don't you use up the rest of the sortilege to dilute it? Now, I will have some of the Knob Creek.
Yeah.
Mine's actually
Give me
too
some of that.
sweet.
I'm gonna pour some of this. Oh, you pour some of that.
Pour that to make yours not as...
Mind you, it's still the same alcohol in the... You're
still going to get more drunk.
You're not gonna drink all of it. You don't want to do this?
Yeah, give me some too. Well, she was playing with Eric.
Dude, we started off the way we started off. It was half a glass.
Give some to Eric.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Like, no, mine's it's just, I'll have that later.
Is this? Are we recording?
Yeah.
All right, this is great. Put this in the podcast.
Tonight's sponsored Knob.
This is why I come here, Prabhu.
Just for the boozy.
I don't even like cars.
I saw Jeff was drinking water.
He was. He felt like he was on detox from. He came back. He was back from vacation.
What's detox? What does that mean?
He was detox. Like he was.
You just stop drinking?
Yeah, you detox your body.
That's a strange thing to do.